Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Michelle with Lone Star Left. Back again. This time I've got four more candidates, primary candidates that we are going to meet and talk about the issues with. I am a little bit hoarse, so my voice is kind of funny today. I may switch to sign language at some point. I think that some of us can keep up. But let's go ahead and get started with introductions. So Jefferson, why don't you go ahead and take it away.
Thank you. Jefferson, none better for Texas, HD 67. I'm running against Republican Jeff Leach in Collin County. Definitely need to get that guy out. But I am a husband. My wife is Mickey. She's fantastic stay-at-home mom, help take care of a couple of kids, Eddie and Andy. So we're here in Plano, where the Allen Outlet shooting happened, and that's what motivated me to get involved. Somebody needed to step up and say, more than thoughts and prayers. I've always believed that God helps those that helps themselves, which is pretty much how it works. And there are certainly things that we can do to make sure that, as I call it, psychopaths can't get guns. I mean, that's what it boils down to. It seems like almost every time that there's a shooting, it's usually because of some mental health issue that these people have. And considering that Texas ranks near the bottom for funding mental health issues, I think we need to do more there. We certainly need to fund education much higher so that people are much more aware of how to interpret the world that goes on around them. So we need full funding to school. It's like I've always said, we need to have the best and brightest to teach our best and brightest. So there's a lot of things that we can do. And anyway, I just wanted to briefly introduce myself and say, hi, I'm Jefferson Nunn, Democrat running against Republican Jeff Leach in HD 67.
Great. And we all would like to see Leach go. So the next person that we have today is Francine Lee. She is running against Beth Van Dyne in Texas 24. So Francine, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Francine Lee. I am a first-generation Asian American. I came here as a child refugee. I am a mother of four. I currently live in Irving, which is the only part of Irving that is in CD 24. The reason I'm running is a lot of reasons, but mainly, like I said, I'm a first-generation Asian American. I came here as a child refugee. When I became naturalized, I took an oath. I swore an allegiance to this country. And part of my oath was to preserve, protect, defend our Constitution and the law of this land. So right now, you have a lot of purportedly elected officials who are democratically elected. So they're pro-democracy, but yet they are supporting insurrectionist ideology. And that goes against everything this country stands for. And I am here running to ensure that when I'm elected, we represent we the people. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And that was perfectly put. Next, we have another House candidate, Jenny Burkholz. She is running for, is it HT 52? If I get that wrong, you'll have to correct me. But Jenny, go ahead. Take it away.
Hi, I'm Jenny Burkholz. I'm running for House District 52. And so that's located in Williamson County, which is outside of Austin. And it's mostly a suburban and growing rural area. And we're not Austin, like we're very unique and diverse in the areas that we serve, which covers 14 school districts. So public education is very important for this district. I am a national healthcare expert, but I started off as a behavioral health crisis worker here in rural Texas. For decades, I have worked in and with populations and communities that have been divested in. So our state mental health system, our state public health system in the state of Texas just doesn't care about these folks, doesn't invest in them. And we have seen that. So one of the communities I did work in was Uvalde before the shooting. And the people knew what they needed. They it was no surprise, right? They needed mental health, they needed opportunities for jobs, all these different things. And that's the story that we see and I hear over and over and over again in our communities. And there's just this gap between what our community needs and what our government is willing to do. And our government is only willing to do what they get paid for through big PACs. And you can't bribe me, you can't pay me off. And I have worked, nationally. I have been on 2 White House commissions, one for opioid and one for behavioral health. So I come with some innovative solutions. I come with experience, and I am ready to be here with District 52. Most importantly, I have 2 kids who are in public schools, and my husband works in public schools. So I come with a very unique perspective that aligns with our district. So thank you for having me here.
Okay, absolutely. And thank you for being here. And last but certainly not least is Marette. My voice is going. Marette Greenscott, and she is running against Troy Nels, and I'll save my comments maybe for later. But Marette, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Marquetta Greenscott. It's French, so but I am running for Congressional District 22. I'm running to unseat Troy Nels. I do have a Democratic opponent, but my ultimate goal is to defeat Troy Nels, unseat him rather. I am a mother of a 23-year-old daughter, and I'm a wife. I'm also an attorney licensed in Texas and Louisiana. I'm originally from Louisiana, but I've been in Texas for 14 years now. I'm Mayor Pro Tem for the city of Iowa Colony, and I've been on council since 2021. I decided to run because just like when I ran for council, I felt that I needed to run. I felt like you can't be the change you want to see, is what President Obama used to say, and I embrace that fully. You can't complain about the situation if you don't try to change it. I felt helpless when they started rolling back our rights, our reproductive rights, our voting rights. They're also trying to take healthcare, get rid of the Affordable Care Act, and it's been in existence, or it's been implemented since 2014, 10 years later, and they're still going after it. So they're showing us that they don't care about everyday people. They talk pro-life, but they don't care about the life of the mother. I always say they're pro-womb. They're not pro-life, because once that child gets out here, the child is on its own. They don't want Medicaid. They don't want, to provide vouchers for food. They want to provide vouchers for school, to go to a private school, but not vouchers for food for the poor. So that's why I say they're not pro-life. They are pro-womb. And I was tired, and I felt like now is the time. I feel like I have experience. My experience on council gives me that bipartisanship mindset. I vote on issues. I don't vote on what people think I should vote on. I vote on what I think is best for my constituents and the country. And right now we don't have that. We have someone who's going with whatever the party says, or whatever one person says, the insurrectionist, whatever he says, the one with 91 felony indictments, and the one who has the $88.3 million judgments against him. So we need someone fighting for us. I fight every day for the citizens of Iowa Colony, and I want to bring that work ethic and that passion to Congress. Thank you.
Absolutely. And so the thing that everybody has in common is we all have primary challengers. There is a primary election, and I will repeat this. Early voting starts February 20th, and on March 5th is election day. So early voting goes from February 20th to March 1st, and then March 5th is election day. But last night we saw something fantastic in New York. We flipped a congressional seat by 8 points. And then also, and I think this is something that's not really got a lot of headlines, is there was a special election in Oklahoma, which was a House legislative seat. And even though the Republicans held onto that seat, it actually swung 28 points to the left. So they barely hung on to it, and in Oklahoma, I mean, geez, they're worse than Texas. So that's a pretty big deal. So I want to say that, next week starts early voting going into this primary election. How do you feel, and what makes you, or why should somebody vote for you over your primary opponent? And let's start with Francine.
Thank you. Well, experience, right? That's what we want. I have both legislative and judicial experience. That's 2 out of the 3 branches, right? I spent 8 years in the legislature working as a legislative aide, and I am currently working for a judge, and 13 years and counting. This is my second judge. I worked for a Republican judge and now a Democratic judge. So, I know how to work across the aisle. I do that daily when people come to court, when they come to me, before they get to the judge. I got to make sure they're on the same page, and I need to get them on the same page and hash out, minimize, if we can get to some sort of agreement, we do that. And then the remaining issue goes to the judge. So, I do that already on a daily basis. My opponent don't have that. My Democratic opponent don't have that. The incumbent don't have that experience. You got me. I am here to ensure that when I get to office, you have me working for you. It doesn't matter if you're independent, Republican, Democrats, or Green Party, okay? I will have over 1 million employers once I'm elected, because you will become my employer and I work for you. I am here to ensure that funding is maximized for our district, for the constituency, and party politics will be set aside. Not like what we are seeing right now. These congressional brinkmanship need to stop. We have to work for we the people, and that's what you will get from me.
And do you think that Democrats are looking to have a big year this year?
Yes, definitely. I know that with President Biden on the ticket, I know a lot of people think he's old, but you know what? Experience matter.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll go to you, Jenny. You are also facing a primary election, and you are going against a Republican who has pretty much signed the dotted line with the far right. There we go. I want to know how you feel going into this election, if you think Democrats are going to have a big year, and why should we vote for you over your primary opponent?
Sure, that's a great question, and I hear that a lot. We have to have a really strong candidate to go up against Caroline Harris, who holds this position now. She's a freshman. She is what we call Dan Patrick's representative because she's married to the chief of staff for Dan Patrick. Her votes are basically what Greg Abbott and Dan Patrick want. They are not what our district wants. And we hear that over and over and over again, even from our Republican persons and local leaders here and from our Democrats. So the values that are held in this district, just like you said, Ms. Green, they are public education. Those are things that people really care about. This is a suburban area. This is a family area. These are about kids. We have some of the top schools in the nation here, right? And that's why people move here, for our schools and for our cost of living. And so somebody like me, I've been intimately involved in advocacy for our public education. I serve on the board for a pro-public education advocacy group. I've been at the Capitol doing all of that advocacy, been involved locally with our school boards and done that advocacy as well, and across the state. So also, I'm experienced. I have come with actual solutions, and with different perspectives, and with the healthcare expertise that I have, I'm coming to the table with how we can actually get healthcare solutions for our people who live in rural areas. And big challenge that hasn't been tackled yet. And we don't see that in our politicians right now. We have a lot of business owners and, retirees and stuff like that. So I have a very specific expertise that I can bring to the table. And I think that that's really important not to ignore. I have the lived experience with having my kids and being in this district for a very long time, and the grassroots here, as well as the professional experience. So this is not about me, right? I'm not going to have a political career. You can't buy me off. And I'm only going to raise as much money as I need to get through this campaign. And you will find that I will be a good steward of that. And I'm here for my district, and I'm here to make sure that they are held space up there in the Capitol, and I'm going to listen to them, and I'm actually going to represent them. And I think that's the most important thing. And I am the one who can beat Caroline Harris.
Okay, I like it. Marquetta, did I say that right?
It's okay.
I'm gonna go to you because Troy Nels, this is my opinion of Michelle, is taking the place of Louis Gohmert as the worst congressional member coming from Texas. Just earlier this morning, he was advocating in a committee for the January 6th defendants, which, to all of us here, that's kind of nutso. So we have to beat him this year.
Yes.
So what is it going to take for Democrats to beat Troy Nels, and why are you the person to get us there in November?
One, Troy Nels does not represent us. I mean, his race, just with the vitriol that he spits out with the cigar, and it's just crazy. And this is one of the most racially diverse districts in the country. And to have him represent us. So I think that people are tired, not just Democrats, Republicans are tired of the foolishness that's going on. So my thing, after I get past the primary, God willing, I plan to get people registered to vote, reach out, shore up our base, get those people who just have been disinterested lately, get them registered if they're not, and if they are registered, get them to the polls. That's my thing. I truly feel this is a majority minority district. I truly feel that people are just tired. I was block walking Friday in a pretty red area, and the daughter was a Democrat, but she wasn't home. So the dad answered the door, and he said, I have never voted for a Democrat in my life. He said, but I'm going to vote for you in the big election. And I said, thank you, because everybody's tired. I know I am. Yeah. We're paying them to go up there and do nothing, because that's what they're doing. They're not doing anything. And like I said, I have the work ethic. Not only am I an attorney, I have my mom here. I moved her to Texas in 2022. And I have city council, which is a completely voluntary job. And if you ask the citizens of Iowa Colony, they'll tell you that I work hard for them, because I do. And I just think that we need people like that in Congress. We need people who care about everyday people, not just about special interests and who's giving them the money. People who care. And I care. I'm a former teacher, so I bring all of that passion with me every day. And that's why I truly, in my heart, believe we're going to flip this district.
Yes. I think so too. And I think that it really probably does not help Troy Nels when he is doing things like last week. He made some racist comments about Cori Bush, which were absolutely despicable. So switching over to Jefferson, you are in a very interesting kind of scenario because Jeff Leach was one of the impeachment managers, and Ken Paxton is doing this whole revenge tour against him, and he's got primary opponents. You have a primary opponent, but do you think that this is going to be Leach's last year in office?
I believe so. And the reason is I'm used to building large scale systems. I've done that over my 30 years in IT, if you will, IT engineering. One of my largest was Go Wireless. I took them from 50 stores to 2,000 stores all across the country. They're a Verizon premium retailer. That design, that system, which is people, processes, and machines, if you will, sold for $800 million to a company. So again, and it's all about how do you bring the dynamics of the situation together to work in, your favor. What works in our favor is to consider that we're now very much into the 21st century and we're still using 19th century concepts across the board. The idea of taking your rights away is very much a 19th century concept. In fact, this country was founded on the right to life, the right to liberty, and the right to pursue happiness. And currently, the folks in Austin are taking away all three. So we need representatives that will go in and support those rights, those God-given rights. It's in the Constitution. It's in the Texas Constitution. So that's the thing. It's like also with that disconnect between Austin and say HD 67, we have companies like Toyota, we have Samsung, we have all these mega corporations coming in and saying we want to hire good skilled engineers to take care of these tasks. They're investing money into Texas. But the challenge is we're not helping these corporations, even with taking away healthcare rights. What happens? The workers get sick. They can't produce. We have disruptive politics. It takes away from working time. There's a lot of distraction. These are things that the employers don't want. They want a stable work environment for their employees. We want a stable place to work. So there has to be a natural partnership there, right? And so when I get to Austin, I can try to enable some of those things. For example, consider what Tim Cook said a couple of weeks ago. He was asked, hey, so why are you shipping all these high-paying jobs over to China? And he goes, listen, you would think that over in China is cheaper. It's not. It's actually much more expensive. The challenge is when I need a process engineering review meeting and I want to hire a bunch of process engineers, I can get 3 stadium fulls of it over there. When I try to do one here, I can barely get a meeting room full of it. And that's the challenge. Now, if you hear from that, oh, China took all our jobs, that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is that we don't have a system from the beginning to the end to deliver the types of things that our modern day world requires. Technology is about change. Technology is about process. Technology helps us. It can help clean the environment, produce energy, better foods. I mean, you can build a tower and feed a whole city of people with a 15-story tower full of vegetables and stuff, all automated, by the way. That's where things are going. And so we want the people to benefit from this technological progress. And the only way we can do it is to engineer a system from start to finish to make sure that our healthcare is taken care of, that our jobs are taken care of, that our kids are taken care of, all these different things. And if we do that, we can come together as a community and enjoy the benefits of the 21st century. That's why I'm the better opponent. I'm the better choice to Jeff Leach. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I am definitely looking forward to a Jetson future with Rosie the robot who cleans my house. I cannot wait. So the next question I have is for our congressional candidates, because I think it's important to talk about that we are still dealing with the repercussions from January 6th. Just last night, the Republicans in Congress impeached Alejandro Mayorkas, basically for conspiracy theories. They did not have grounds to impeach him on. And these are all of these people that are beholden to Donald Trump. So, for you guys, for you two, what is our path going forward? How do we make Congress work? How do we make it more effective? Let's start with Marquetta.
Thank you. Yeah, well, we know what's going on because former President Trump was impeached twice for good cause. Now they're using impeachment as a retaliation as opposed to what it was meant to do. And so that's why we have to get people who understand civics and understand the role of Congress, what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to fight for the people and not for one person. I think that's going to be the starting point, getting these people out of Congress and putting quality candidates, people who understand their roles, people who understand basic civics, people who, one of my friends, we were laughing about Schoolhouse Rock. I said, I truly believe that we need to start back. ABC needs to start back showing Schoolhouse Rock. I am a Bill, just to teach, because obviously they don't understand what their roles are. So we need knowledgeable people who in there who know what their roles are, who know what they should be doing for their constituents and for the country, and understanding the effects that these decisions that they're making, the effects that they're having on everyday people. Because you can say you're pro-life, but remember, you have to think about the person. These are people that the decisions you're making are affecting. And that's why I am very strong on thinking about, how does this affect my constituents, or how will this affect the country? And you need people in Congress who think that way, not people who are bent on retaliation or just basic evilness, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Because if you would rather see a mother die than to terminate a non-viable fetus, well, that's a problem. And you're not pro-life because you're not thinking about the life of the mother. Because there is a life that we know, a viable life that we know at risk, and you would rather she die than a non-viable fetus. So to me, that's what we need in Congress, just some common sense. And right now, sense isn't so common. It really isn't. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the truth. Okay, Francine, I mean, same question to you. January 6th, we are still dealing with the aftermath, especially from the people in Congress, the Republicans in Congress, I should say. What is the path going forward? What do we do to fix this?
We, the people, have to hold our elected official accountable. We got to understand it's on us. We cannot keep sending the same individual who do not respect our law to represent us. We cannot send someone who do not support our democracy to represent democracy. All right. Like I said, I came here as a child refugee, and when I became a citizen, I took an oath. I swore an oath of allegiance to this country, all right, to defend our Constitution, to abide by the law of this land from foreign and domestic forces. And right now we are under attack, and we need to ensure that we preserve our democracy. And the only way to do that is to ensure that we elect individuals who uphold our ideology and to Congress. That's our house. I mean, that's the people's house. Okay, that's the people's house, and we need someone like me. I mean, I came here, and that's all I know. This is my country, and it breaks my heart to see individual trying to tear it down, waving that flag. Like, do you really care about this country, or it's just for show? Okay, it's in here, and it will always be here for me. My country, my children's country, my future grandkids' country, our country. We need to take it back, and we cannot afford, because we're gonna if Trump wins, I see another civil war, and this time there will be no coming back. That is how grave it is. Okay, the gravity of the situation. So please, if you're listening to this, send us true Democratic champion to restore some order back to our house. Thank you.
Absolutely. And you guys, this is what patriotism looks like. And so now I want to switch over to the House candidates for the Texas legislature. And talk about something that I have talked about every time we've done this, but you know, I have to keep harping on it because it is a serious situation. Operation Lone Star, and Greg Abbott and all of his border stunts and all of his political theater. And you know, what do we do about that? I really hope that the House flips next year. I have a feeling that it will, whether it does or not. Jefferson, let's start with you. What do we do about Operation Lone Star, and how do we rein in Greg Abbott?
Thank you. Even Leach, unfortunately, supports to a greater degree Operation Lone Star, and that's unfortunately not a useful solution, nor a long-term solution. It's a very wasteful solution. $1 billion have been wasted. It's truly a multifaceted issue. It's not just one issue. For example, the reason why a lot of the people are coming north to America from all those countries, from south of Mexico all the way down to South America, right? All the way on down Central America. They're coming here because of climate change. They're coming here because of war. They're coming here because of a lot of reasons. And so it's a tough situation when these people are coming here. They're starving. They have children. They're also starving. And you know, our first instinct for Jeff Abbott's first instinct is to put up a bunch of razor wire and machine guns, you know, led by people that have obviously had way too much to eat. So I think those things it's rather a discordant thing if you think about it. And so even on the flip side, should we have a better way to ensure the safety and security of our borders? Yes, there are solutions. There's a company in Texas that has actually put together a drone-based solution that is very functional. It's worked very well in Afghanistan and Iraq, and it certainly costs a lot less than $1 billion that have been spent so far. Just to come up with the drone-based solution, works 24/7, day or night, any weather, to make sure that we can at least monitor and detect who comes to the border. That then leads us to an interdiction program, where we can just, you know, deploy resources as needed to determine who these people are that are crossing the border. Once that happens, it's a federal issue, not a state issue. All right. This is a federal issue. Should we partner with the federal government on these issues? Yes, absolutely. It's in our best interest to do so. Why not? But should we interfere with the federal government on these issues by putting up our own walls and by deploying our own people and by getting all these other random states to give us their National Guard? I don't even know what the law. See, this is about the rule of law, right? And here we've just done something that doesn't even have a basis in law.
Right.
Other militia coming to our state for, wait, what? Who feeds them? Who clothes them? How does that even work? So, I mean, there's a lot of really randomness that's going on simply to bait the January 6th insurrectionists, which unfortunately I go back to. It's a mental health issue. Many of the January 6th insurrectionists, when they've been arrested and processed through the system, they later recanted their views, honestly. They said, oh my God, I can't believe I was so misled. Which is why I go back to, we really need to have a better free for everybody, mental health care system, even physical health care system. It should be free for everybody. The right to life, the right to liberty, the right to pursue happiness. If we don't have those three things, nothing works. So yes, when I'm in Austin, I will rip apart Operation Lone Star and put into base a much better, more economical solution so that we can focus on the broader issues, which is getting Texas well into the 21st century so that we succeed. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And just a quick interjection. I had Senator Nathan Johnson on last week, and he did confirm that we are approaching now $13 billion with Operation Lone Star and Greg Abbott's border activities. So, Jenny, to you, same question. Well, what do we do to rein in Greg Abbott and the Republican shenanigans at our southern border?
Yeah, you know, this is a very complex question, right? That we wish we could wave our wand and solve. There's so many things that feed into this. And We know that, global migration, policy adjustments, an economic need for additional workers, all feed into this. And, I think the first bottom line that I always say is people coming into our country in search for a better life, they deserve fair and humane treatment. Bottom line, right? That's just what we have to say. And but Greg Abbott has opted to arrest, incarcerate, harass, all of those sorts of things, and that's not a value of Americans. That's not a value that I hold. That's not a value that we hold as citizens. So I see Operation Lone Star as a waste of our dollars, as an abuse of our power, as a way to harass people coming here for a better life. Are there people that come through that have ill intentions? Sure. I do believe that, but I don't think that means that we have to harm and hurt everybody that does come through. The federal government is responsible for a unified system, but as we go through, what is the state doing to actually cooperate with that? And how are we working together to ensure that we're meeting the goals that we need to? And I truly believe that people should come in, can come in and meet the needs of workforce and their needs of their family too. I know here in my community, in my neighborhood, we have a great deal of folks here that are from a variety of different countries here on green cards, and they're very, very successful in our community, but the length of time that they are on a green card until they become citizens is shocking. But the amount that they contribute to our community is so great, so great. And I think it's really important to understand that and recognize their value and how important it is. And Francine, I saw your face light up when we talked about that as well. So I'd love to hear your opinion if that's available.
Yeah, it takes a very long time to become a citizen, and during that time, there's a lot of hardship in between. Growing up, there was hardship. I mean, mom and dad was never around. That's because they were busy working 2-3 jobs just to put food on the table. Like we don't get benefits, but it's just one of those where immigrants are being scapegoated, demonized. America is still the promised land. Statue of Liberty, right? She has a poem inscribed on her book that says, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses," right? Those who yearn to breathe free. The American ideology is alive and well. I know Trump said it's dead. I disagree. I disagree with him wholeheartedly. This country is beautiful, and it's because of us. It's because of we, the people. Since him taking office, a few of them has come out of the woodwork, and because we're quiet, we feel drowned out. But this country is we, the people, and we have a big heart. We have a big heart. If it hadn't been for those who have sponsored us, like I said, I came here as a refugee. I didn't speak the language. Nobody here. All I had, mom, dad, my sister, and I. I grew up here. I didn't learn my ABCs. I didn't learn to speak until I was actually enrolled in DISD. All right, that's when I learned how to learn my ABCs and learn to speak again. Because I don't recall eating. I don't recall speaking until I came to America. So and it's because of the community that helps me overcome and be a part of our society, be that one thread that is weaving through the fabric of America, and it's possible if we would just take back control. It belongs to us. Our founding father and mother had that 3 words, right? 3 words starts our constitution. We, the people. It didn't say them, the corporation. It says we, the people. Yeah. Thank you.
And yeah, and despite the Republican talking points, corporations are not people. But that was beautifully said, Francine. And so we've only got a couple minutes left, and so I just want to pivot for just a second. Today it was announced that Texas Congressman Greg Casar and AOC are introducing legislation to force Texas to connect with the grid. And so I want to go back to Jenny for just a minute. You know, the legislators had several years to fix the grid. They haven't done anything. Is connecting with the national grid the right choice? And what else do you think needs to be done?
Yeah, they've had several, like you said, they've had several opportunities. I talked to people in my district in the rural areas, right? And we have trauma. We have real true trauma around this. We have people running for office because of this specific issue. We have people who had babies in their home because of the last freeze. They couldn't get to the hospital. This is a serious issue that was not taken serious enough. And no matter what they're trying to do here locally, we're finding that corporations are getting preferential treatment for access to energy and electricity and even water over their own citizens here. And so I'm happy, let's connect to the larger grid. You know, if we're not able to come up with our own solutions here, if the government isn't taking care of it here in Texas, I say we go ahead, because we have people dying. We have people who have died. We have people who have had trauma, and let's go ahead and secure our grid right now.
Okay, absolutely. And so I want to switch over to you, Marquetta. Marquetta, did I say it right? I know I'm like dying on this. But
It's okay.
what are your thoughts about this legislation? If you were in Congress, would you vote for it? Would you sponsor co-sponsor it? I mean, what do you think has to be done to keep Texans safe during extreme weather events?
I would definitely vote for it. I remember that day. It was my daughter's birthday. She was crying. I was crying. I could only get in touch with one person outside of my home, and that was one of my friends in Oklahoma. So she was texting me, telling me what was going on. My daughter and I would have to go sit in a car to charge our phones just to, to be able to talk whenever we could reach somebody, because we kept trying. And they knew that grid needed maintenance since 2011. So it was, and we're in 2024, and they still haven't fixed it. And we're 3 years from that, but we're 13 years from when they were told they needed to upgrade the grid. And they just refused to do it. Like, corporations are running things. That's why you need regulations. That is foolishness talking about, oh, it's the free enterprise. The market will regulate itself. No, it won't. And we see that. So yes, I would definitely vote for that bill, because we need to be protected. And if the state isn't going to protect us, then it's the federal government's job to do it. And I would definitely vote for it.
Okay, great. And so Jefferson, sticking to the same line of questioning, let's say hypothetical, because we don't have a majority in Congress right now, that bill doesn't get through, and you get elected for next session. Do you jump on bills that do force Texas to connect to the national grid?
Absolutely. We need, that's actually a part of energy independence. And not only that, it actually gives Texas the ability to sell excess energy to other states. I mean, it's a great win-win for everybody. But on top of that, I would definitely like to reform the whole ERCOT situation. I mean, they're guilty of gerrymandering prices. And also even the natural gas prices are totally gerrymandered as well, to the point that, it's bad. I mean, they're doubling natural gas prices. Our natural gas bills are going to double in the upcoming year, all because of greed. It really is all because of greed. The bill that passed, the proposition that passed last year that said that, only natural gas or coal or oil could be used in the event of emergency, I would rip that one up as well. That is ridiculous. We need to have energy independence. And what that means is, I mean, whether you produce energy on your own, I mean, you can put solar panels on your roof, go for it. Or if you're buying from the grid, you should have that ability to have that energy at a set price no matter what happens. And that's not what happens right now. They float the price and we all end up paying for it one way or another. And so that kind of greed-driven system needs to come to an end. And joining the larger grid gives us that ability to stabilize our prices so that we can not worry about, are the lights are going to come on or the heater going to come on? We got bigger things to worry about than that.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, last but not least, Francine, if you were in Congress and that bill came up in the House, would you vote for it? And any other thoughts you have about that?
Absolutely, I would vote for it. Being alone sometimes is not very beneficial, right? I know Texas is big and we are the Lone Star State. We like being alone, but when it comes to supporting the community, it's good to have a backup, have a safety net. And we didn't have that. We did not have that, and people died. Okay, and for Ted Cruz to leave, Cancun Cruz, that is such a failure in leadership. And we got to change the makeup of our leadership right now, because right now the elected leaders, we need individual like you and I who are just regular everyday working folks who understand the hardship that each of us go through on a daily basis to make ends meet, right? And that's how I'm going to be able to work across the aisle to ensure that we bring what is best for the community to the community, and put our personal feelings and needs aside, because we are here to work together for the betterment of our community. And that's what elected leaders are there to do, and not to line their pockets like most of them right now. That is why we have such a great failure in ERCOT. There, like I said, 2011, there's a report. They told them what needs to be fixed. They said, no, I'd rather pay myself.
Yeah, and they did do that. That is very true. They did do that. Okay, so we are just about out of time. So if you guys each want to take a couple minutes just to kind of wrap up and maybe say where we can find you online, your website address. Let's go ahead and start with you, Jefferson.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much, Michelle. I really enjoy your blog. You can find me at nonebetterfortexas.com. All the social links are there. We're on all the different platforms. Join us. We need your help to overcome the monstrosity that is Jeff Leach. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Francine.
Yes, thank you so much for allowing me to come back on here. I'm Francine Lee, running for Congressional District 24. I'm at FrancineLeeForCongress.com. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, I'm there. Please vote for me starting on February 20th, because we need a change, and I can defeat Beth Van Dyne.
Absolutely. And Jenny?
Thank you again for this time. Thank you, other candidates. It's wonderful to get to meet you all. Jenny Burkholz, you can find me on my website at burkholzfortexas.com. That's BIRKHOLZ for Texas.com. Again, I'm the best Democrat to beat the Republican incumbent, and I am here for it, right? And so I would love for you to volunteer. I would love your time, treasure, talents to contribute to this, because we are in this together. So you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on Instagram, and thank you.
Okay, Marquetta.
Yes, you can find me at marquettagreenscott.com. On all social media platforms, it's at mgreenscott. I too would love volunteers for my campaign. It's, I understand it's going to be an uphill battle, but it can be won. It just takes all of us working together. And that's what I plan to do. I plan to bring people together, because we need someone in Congress who will represent us. We have qualified and quality Democrats, and I want people to understand that, because what's going on right now needs to stop. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and it was great meeting everyone.
Absolutely. And you guys don't forget, early voting starts next week, February 20th. It goes all the way to March 1st. Election day is March 5th. You have to vote. If you don't vote, then you can't talk about how